Hi everyone. Today's lesson I'm going to show you how to debug in Java. So I have here a sample program which I'm going to run. This is from the code from our last lesson where we learned about arrays. So let me run this, and as you can see, this is the output. But you can see there's something wrong with the output. Like I expected to print 0, 1, 2, 3. And this one was supposed to be 4, but it printed 3. Also here, it printed 0, 1, 2, 3. And there's something wrong with the fourth element here. It printed null, and then it printed 5, 6, 7. So I want to use debug to see what is the problem. So to use debug, first thing you want to do is you want to set your breakpoints, like where you want the program to stop. So I'm going to set a breakpoint right here. And I'm going to set a breakpoint right here because I know there's something wrong with the fourth element or the fourth variable. Or maybe in this case it's the fifth element and the fifth variable because we start with the 0. So I'm going to put one breakpoint there, and maybe here I'm going to put a breakpoint at the for loop, and then I'm going to run my debug. So to run the debug, just go up here. You have two ways to do it. You can right click on the program and do debug as Java application, or you can go up here, click on the little bug icon up here, and just say yes here. It's gonna bring you to the debug perspective. I'm gonna close this one, and here's my code. It stops right here at the first breakpoint that I have set, which is on line 23. And right now, that's the beginning of the program, so you don't have any variables loaded yet. There's nothing here. This window here shows all my variable that has been loaded inside the program. So if I want to go to the next line from here, I want to go to here, I'm going to go up here and click on this icon here, step over, or I can do an F6 would take me to the next line. So if I keep hitting F6, it's going to go through my program. It's going to execute each line as it goes through. And when the line has been executed, you can see the variables up here has been loaded. So now my variable A0 has the value of 0. My variable A1 has the value of 1. If I keep stepping, it's gonna go through each line, or I can set another breakpoint, and I can do a jump to the next breakpoint by pressing the resume button here, F8. I'm gonna jump to the next breakpoint. So it's gonna jump from line 25 to line 27 because that's where my next breakpoint is. And now I can see the value of A3. A4 hasn't been loaded yet, so there's no value there. If I do a step, and now I see the value of A4 is 4. So everything is correct so far, and I can see the next line. It does A4 equal to A4 minus 1. So it's removing 1 from A4, and that's why the value has a 3 when it gets printed. So to confirm that, I'm just going to do a step. And you can see here the value of A4 has been changed from a 4 to a 3 because of this line. So our first mystery has been solved, why the A4 variable has a value of 3. So I'm just going to jump to the next breakpoint. So it's going to jump to here. That's where my next breakpoint is. You can see the circle, the little dot right here. So I'm going to press play, resume, F8 up here. what's going on here. Let me see. So it jumped up to this part. The reason this console popped up is because it has executed these lines. So these lines got printed. It printed the top four, the highlighted lines here, up to variable A3. And this line is where my breakpoint is, A4. And if I mouse over the variable A4, I can see that A4 has a value of 3. It says it up here, and it also says it right here. So now if I do a step, I can see that my variable A4 got printed here with the 3. And if I keep stepping, I can see it prints the A5 that has the value of 5, and so on. So now I'm gonna skip to the next breakpoint because we solved that mystery, the first mystery. The next breakpoint I set is right over here. And to skip again, you're gonna press the play button here, or the resume button, or the F8 key. I'm just gonna click that, and it jumped to the next breakpoint. And now I'm gonna go through my for loop. So to go through the for loop, I'm gonna do F6 here, or click on this step over, and it's gonna go for each for loop. It's gonna go through, and it's gonna check if I is equal to 4. It's gonna do the continue. So let's step through it. So the first one, I is 0. So it's not gonna do the continue. You're gonna see that it's gonna jump over and it's gonna go to here. There it goes. It jumps from here to here. And then it's just gonna put the value of I, which is 0, into the array index 0. So I'm gonna press step over, and it's gonna keep looping. It's gonna do the same thing. Each time it's gonna skip over the continue statement in here, because I right now is 2. We're gonna do it again. I right now, check I is 3. So you can check the value of I either by looking up the variable up here. You can see I is 3, or you can mouse over the variable to see that the value I is 3. So I is 3, it's gonna jump over and it's gonna do this one again. Now, but on the next iteration, I is now equal to 4. And you can see that it's gonna step inside of the if statement. There it goes. It goes inside the if statement, and it does a continue. A continue is gonna kick it back to the top of the loop. So this statement right here is not done, and that's why we got the null for the array index 4, because it never got loaded. So if I do, let's see if that's correct. If I do a step over, you can see it jump up to the top of the loop. It never executed this statement when I is 4. When I is 5 now, it's gonna do that. So for every other I, it's gonna load I into the array index of I, but not when I is 4. When I is 4, it never loaded I of 4, so that's why the value of index 4 is null. And when you print that, you can see it. So let me put another breakpoint here. I'm gonna do a jump. I'm gonna do a resume. And I need to remove this breakpoint, otherwise it's gonna keep stopping there each time. So to remove a breakpoint, you just double click again, and that removes the breakpoint. I'm gonna press play again, and now it jumps to here. So it printed this line, and it's getting ready to print all the array elements. Right now I is 0. So if I do a resume each time, so it's going to print I of 0 is 0. Now it's I is equal to 1. It's going to print I equal to 1, and it's 1. I press play again, 2, 3. So the next one is I equal to 4, and this one is going to be null because it never got loaded. If I press play again, and you can see it's null. The next one is going to print is I equal to 5, and that should be 5. And there it is. To finish, I'm just going to remove this breakpoint, and I'm going to press run one more time to let the program finish. And then it printed all the rest of the arrays, the rest of the elements in the array, all the way up to 99. Alright everyone, that's how we use debugging in Java. See you next time.